Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how your language will show you your beliefs, and more importantly, how we can change our language to help change our beliefs. And by changing our beliefs, we change the inner, we change the outer reality around us, because remember, the outer reality around us is nothing more than a mirror of what's going on inside. Now let's jump into it. Watch your language. And no, not in that way. We're not saying don't cuss. What we're saying is watch the words that you use to describe yourself and your reality. And also watch your tonality and your energy. The words you could be saying would look fine on paper, but if you have an energy, a tonality, or an energy attached to it that suggests a different intention, then that's just as bad as having bad language. You know, we all know that person, and you may unsuspectingly be that person that does the, you know, the cutting sarcastic joke thing, but the energy behind that is a little heavy and a little dark, and you guys need to look at that. It's not saying it's terrible or anything, but like be aware of the tonality that is attached to the words that you're saying. You know, sometimes things aren't just a joke. There may be a hidden belief there that you're not even aware of, you know, that's allowing that language to come forth like that. How you talk and the words you use in describing and talking about yourself, describing and talking about others, and describing and talking about the events, the circumstances, and the world around you. These words have power. Words show you your beliefs. If you're having a hard time going within, going inside, and connecting to your beliefs and how you feel, you need to look no further than how you talk about things. The words that come out of your mouth and the words that you write down, you know, the words you text. Those words will show you what you believe. Have you ever had this scenario, you know, where you're carrying something and you drop it on the ground and you go to bend over and you're like, I'm so clumsy. I always drop things. And, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. And, oh, you know, I'm so stupid and I'm clumsy. And if I was smarter, I would have done this and that. But do you see how that, for many people, that's such an automatic response that you may not even be aware that you're doing it, A, or B, that it's a problem. But yes, it is a problem. Because what is the belief behind that? I am so clumsy. You are programming yourself to be a clumsy person by reinforcing that belief. And that must be the belief because that's what you said. Now, you probably picked it up innocently enough from adults when you were a child. Remember, as kids, we are sponges. We absorb the thoughts and the habits and the energy and the words and the language and the tonality from everyone that's around us. And oftentimes we don't question it. But something like that, I'm so clumsy, you know, or, you know, when you say you get something wrong and you're like, oh, I'm so stupid. No, stop that. Bad. That is, you don't want to talk about yourself in such a way, because what is that underlying belief? There's an underlying belief somewhere that you picked up at some point in time. Maybe it was in school, maybe it was with parents, where, you know, maybe a parent told you that, you know, why are you so stupid? You can't figure this out, or I don't understand why you're having a problem in math class, you know, and this and that. And then you internalize that, and then that becomes your inner dialogue, your inner belief about yourself. So it shows you your beliefs, again, about yourself. Now let's look at it in reality. Oh, there's never enough money, right? Those words just connected to an inner belief of scarcity, an inner belief that there's not enough, that this universe isn't full of abundance. The inner belief that I'll never get that promotion at work. Again, belief, you know. Now, to you, that you may not have made this aware connection. This may be an aha for you that, wow, I never realized how powerful language is. You know, in my mind, I always thought of it either as a joke or I'm just stating it, you know, and it's not big of a deal. But no, if you didn't believe that, you wouldn't say that. If you hear that, if you didn't believe something somewhere within yourself, the words would not come out of your mouth. The words wouldn't come out. I never say those things. I never say I'm clumsy. I never say I'm stupid. And I never say I don't have enough. I never say any of those words because I'm cultivating abundance in my life. And for years, you know, it took a while. Of course, I didn't come out of the womb like that. You know, instead, very much the opposite. I picked up a lot of vocabulary from my parents, both my father and my mother, that weren't healthy things to pick up. And I had to spend the time of shedding it and shedding it and shedding it. But I don't speak those words and I don't think those words. You know, for some people, you may not speak it aloud, but you might think to yourself, oh, I'm so stupid. And I can't believe I didn't figure this out. And everyone's smarter than me and blah, blah, blah. And all the, you know, this whole story you've got going on with all these, you know, self-deprecating beliefs. No, you choose to use that language or not. You choose to reinforce that belief or not. And one of the first ways that we can begin, because in these videos, I always tell you guys that you have to work on changing your beliefs, right? Well, it's going to be hard to change your belief if what's coming out of your mouth is the opposite of what you're trying to manifest and change. So start by policing your language. Become consciously aware of the words that you choose to use. Like when I make these videos, when I first, and if you watch some of my earlier videos, you'll see this. Oh, we won't, because I edited them, you know, meticulously edited them. But I would always use confirmation words when I was speaking. So I would say something and I'd be like, right. Or I'd say the word, you know. Well, as I was watching these videos, I'd realize I'd be stringing like 6 or 7 of these confirmation words together in like a 1 minute of speaking. And the reality was there was 2 things there. One, I should have, which I have done already, as you may notice, I switched to pausing instead. Sometimes I take a breath. I let my energy relax. Because instead of just spitting out the rights and the you knows and those confirmation words, I choose instead to have pauses. Because part of throwing out those confirmation words is a feeling of lack internally, is a feeling of anxiety, is a feeling of I don't want there to be any dead space in these videos when I'm talking, because I don't want people to have the chance to see that I am not enough. You know, and these are believe me, while I make each one of these videos, I'm busy working on myself. You know, there are so many things. Me making and posting these videos is me pushing outside of my comfort zone every time I do it. And it gets easier and I'm more natural at it now. I mean, this is probably the 30th video, 40th video I've recorded, something like that. So I've gotten more natural with it. The first 15 or so is where I was banging out a lot of this stuff. But watch that in your own life. You know, when you're having a conversation with someone, do you throw out lots of those confirmation words? Like the rights and the you know, and you know what I'm saying, nah, I'm saying, you know, those kind of things. Because in a way, it could be that there's some sort of an anxiety or a fear there that I need you to confirm what I'm saying, to validate, to be an external authority validating what I'm saying to you, you know, see? Instead of saying, no, I am the authority on what I am saying. I give myself internal validation. I don't need validation and a permission slip from anyone else to do what I want. When you go and listen to some of the great speakers and the great orators in any of their respective fields, do they continuously throw out those needy confirmation words? You know, does, right there, see it? Does, and sometimes it's natural. It's not to say that you can't use the words, but if you notice yourself stringing like 10 of them along in one sentence, you're too concerned with the other person's approval of what you're saying is what I'm getting at here as a tangent with these beliefs. Think about like Obama, for example. You know, I'm not going to get political, like him or hate him. He was a great speaker. And did he throw out a lot of those words? No, his words were calculated. They were precise. He took pauses. He wasn't up there being like, we need to have a great nation, you know, and this is something that we're going to do, right? And we're going to increase healthcare spending, right? And we're going to do this, right? But you see, as you keep hearing these words over and over again, you see the neediness versus we're going to increase healthcare spending. We're going to take care of our citizens. Without those confirmation words, I'm not asking for your approval. I'm not asking for you to validate what I'm saying. I am internally validating it myself, and I am just presenting it. What you choose to do with it is up to you. You can accept it. You can argue with me. You could vomit on the floor. I mean, whatever you want. It's none of my business. But that's a tangent to kind of explain and illustrate the power of the language and the words that we use, how they are definitely tied into our belief systems. So now, if we agree with the premise of this video, you know, you've listened. I just did it again, you know. If we listened to the premise, you understand what I'm laying out here. The next natural question is, well, how do I change my words? How do I change my language? Well, with anything, awareness is the biggest step. The first step is to become aware of the words that you are using, because I think for many people, you aren't even aware. You really aren't aware of what you're saying. And so many of the people around you, because what we vibrate like we attract, like family members that you pick these words up from to begin with, they say the words. So it reinforces that this is the normal way that we speak. So the first thing we need to do is become aware of the words. Maybe become aware of how your family speaks, because that's where you probably picked up most of this. So start to become aware, not in like a self-conscious way. Don't be like, Uncle Jerome, why are you saying this so much? Did you understand that you're just illustrating your beliefs? Don't drop the material on people that aren't ready to hear it yet, but simply observe, and observe it in them such that you may then begin to observe it in yourself. But you have to become aware. We can't change anything about ourselves without first being aware. That's where things like meditation come in. That's where things like going into the body and asking the body to illustrate and show us things is because we have to be aware. You can't change it until you're aware. Once you become aware of the words that you are using, we're not trying to change it at this step. We're just trying to become more aware of it. Then we need to start to consciously dig into the beliefs. What we are saying with our words is what we believe to be true at this moment. What we are saying with the words is what we believe to be true. So we examine the words, and then, I mean, you can even write it down on your phone. If you notice you say a word, open a new text document and write it down on your phone and get a list of these things so that when you go home, you can sit, meditate, come out of meditation and look at your list. What would have to be true? What would my belief have to be for me to say I am stupid? And beyond that, what do you think the effect would be of you saying that about yourself for the next 20 years? And what's really going to bake your noodle is another way that you can kind of tap into how damaging this is to yourself is imagine you saying this to yourself as a child. You're so stupid. You would never do that. Imagine saying it to your children. You would never do that. It's probably horrifying to some of you out there to even have that. I would never do that. Well, why do you say it about yourself? What makes it okay to say it about yourself, but you would never say it to another person? You would never say it to a child. You see, bring that meaning over to yourself. Be horrified that you say it about yourself. And again, we're not beating ourselves up here. We're not like, I can't believe I was telling myself I was so stupid. I'm so stupid for telling myself I'm so stupid. You see how that's also pointless, this is equally pointless exercise. No, we're not beating ourselves up. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna be enjoyment of, I found a new way that I can help to work with the beliefs that I have about myself. And I'm so grateful for it, Spirit. Thank you. Once we become aware and we dig into it and we start to understand, wow, I can't believe the way I talk about myself. Well, this is a wonderful moment. Why? Because step 3, now we get to change our language. Now we get to change the language, the tonality, the intention behind what we're saying, as well as the energy behind it. And in doing all of these things, we have to, inevitably, the belief has to shift with it. We can't believe one thing and say something else. Now, there may be a bit of a crossover period where as we're consciously changing the language until such a time that language becomes automatic. Just like you learn anything, you start with unconscious incompetence. We're unconsciously saying all these things. Then we become conscious of our incompetence. We become conscious of the fact that we're using these words and these beliefs. Then we become consciously competent in that we are consciously changing the language we're using, and we're going to keep repeating it until it becomes a habit. You know, you could even wake up, make it part of your affirmations in the morning. You wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm so great. I'm so smart. You know, I'm a wonderful human being. What's wrong with that? Some people, some of you may feel resistance to saying that, but you were perfectly okay with saying, I am stupid. I am clumsy. Nobody loves me. You see what, like the mind flip that becomes where you're okay with this, but then for some reason, waking up, looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. I love my life. You're a wonderful human being. I'm so grateful that you're in my life. You're so intelligent. You're so great. You're so smart. You're so fit. You're so lovable. You're so joyful. You're so funny. Start going the other way with it. And then that will help to reframe and change your beliefs. I think language is something that people overlook quite a bit when they work with themselves. You know, I've consciously made the choice to stop this a long time ago, very early on my journey. Not to say that I'm like great or whatever that I did that, but just in my own experience, I started out early on with the language. One of the first things I did was to get into affirmations, and then I made the connection that, oh, I need to look at how I speak about myself because people in my family do that, the I'm so clumsy, I'm so stupid, all that stuff, you know? And all right, you see the, you know, sometimes it works in conversation, but you just don't want to obsessively use it. You know, I need you to agree with what I'm saying, so I keep saying confirmation words, you know? That energy is just, whew. But in any case, my friends, that is the video. Watch your language. Become aware of the words you use. Consciously dig into the beliefs. Figure out what would have to be true for you to say those words. And then change the language to change your belief. This is one way we can get at that. All right, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.